The 7th of January, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi, Veyechi. How are you?
Hey, let's go.
Let's see. Pasuk Vav.
Yeah. Second.
Umuladetcha asher holadta acharehem lecha yiu al shem achehem yikaru b'nachalasam. Okay, so but your progeny, whom you beget after them, shall be yours. They will be included under the name of their brothers with regard to their inheritance. Rashi says, Umo ladetecha v'gomer im tolid od. If you have more children, lo yi'u b'minyan banei. Banai. They will not be among the number of my sons. Ella, rather, besoch shivtei Ephraim umenashe yi'u nichlalim. They will be included among the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. V'lo yehei lahem shem bashvatim, and they will not have a distinct name among the tribes. Le'inyan ha-nachala, regarding the matter of taking possession of the land of Israel.
Inheritance.
V'af al pi she'nech laka.
Major question here.
What?
Rashi has a major question here.
And even though the land of Israel was divided, Leminyan Gul Gilosav, by the size of the tribe's population, Kideh Kasiv, as it is written, Larav Tarbeh Nachalaso. For the numerous one, you shall increase its inheritance. B'chol ish va'ish. And each individual, natal b'shaveh, received equally.
Was received full portion.
Chutz min ha-b'chorim, except for the firstborn. Mikol makom. Nevertheless,
it doesn't make enough gemina in the size of any individual's portion in the land. He got the same size portion.
Right.
The land was given out to each individual, and each individual got an equal portion as anybody else. Let's say there were, for argument's sake, there were 600,000 men entitled to a portion, so there was divided up into 600,000 equal parts. By the way, it doesn't necessarily mean in value. Somebody may have got a smaller, very fertile portion. The other one may have got a larger, but less fertile portion. Okay?
Nikra'u Shivatim. The sons of Yosef were not called tribes, Ella Elu, except for these, i.e., Ephraim and Manasseh. So what's the major question?
No, so that's what Rashi is presenting the question. It's just that's what if each person gets a portion in the land, all those who entered the land, every single man who entered the land was entitled to a portion, and each one got an equal portion. So what difference does it make whether they're called tribes or not called tribes? As far as how much the size of their portion in the land is going to be exactly the same. It doesn't make a difference if they are 10 tribes, 12 tribes, 14 tribes, 16 tribes. It doesn't make a difference.
So the question is, why is Yaakov bothering?
Right. So why is he bothering to tell him, your future children,
one for Yosef?
Yosef's future children will not be called a separate tribe, but they are going to be included under the tribes of their brothers. And he specifically mentions it, Yikoru b'nachalosom. It will be called in their inheritance. What's that talking about? In the inheritance of the land.
So what's the answer?
Rashi says, this is what Rashi says, what the nafkamin is, I've got it added in brackets. The hatzol goyel haaretz leminim shmeis hashvatim v'nosi lokol shevet v'shevet udgolim lezeh ulezeh. In other words, there's really only a nafkamina for administrative and for what do you call it? Ceremonial purposes.
And what is that?
So administrative meaning that there was one nasi for each shevet. So there were only 12 shvatim, and there was a nasi for each shevet. So the other sons of potential sons of Yosef would not be called a separate shevet, but rather they would be included under their brothers' names. Whereas, let's say Yosef had another son, so I'm not sure how it was to be decided whether it would be under Manasseh or under Ephraim. I don't know. Plus, it doesn't elaborate. In fact, the Mefarshim dwell on the point that Yosef did not have any more children. So it's a very strange thing that Yaakov addresses this whole thing when in fact it was not something which was relevant at all. Well, certainly that the Torah mentions it. Why does the Torah need to mention it if it was not relevant at all?
And the second nafkamina?
Second nafkamina is ceremonial. That Dgolim lezeh lezeh.
What?
Okay, there were 12 flags, 12 tribal emblems. So in other words, they were only in when they were divided up for counting or divided up for that had should be representatives in a let's say in a national convention or something like that. So there were only 12 representatives. There weren't more. Okay.
But wasn't there also a factor of tribal proclivity for certain mitos? I'm thinking of Issachar and Zevulun. They each had their preferred livelihood, and they each had their approach to Torah.
Right.
Didn't they have an agreement that one of them was going to learn Torah more and the other one was going to do more Parnasa?
That was Yisachar and Zebulun, particularly.
Yisachar and Zevulun. I say Yisachar. Yeah, Yisachar and Zevulun, right.
Right.
And Zevulun were farmers, right?
Those Zebulun were seafarers.
And Yisachar?
They sat and learned. They actually were experts at astronomy and at fixing the calendar.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. They had certain areas where the whole tribe.
Correct. You mean okay, but
So I wonder if any other tribes, if there were a tribe that were more sheep herders and they were in more mountainous areas and farmers were more valley.
there were hard and fast rules there. If somebody from one tribe wanted to be have a job, let's say, as you say, as let's say somebody from Zvulun would decide to go into real estate rather than being a seafarer. There was nothing stopping him.
Right, but he was finding himself in a seaside area where, of course, you need real estate agents in the seaside area also.
Right.
But nonetheless, he was finding himself in a certain area because of his tribal affiliation.
True.
So also, like for example, in America, you have subdivisions, you have states, and within states you have counties,
Right.
and these are, I guess, which is what you were calling administrative.
Right.
So they needed to have that kind of governmental structure, and I guess that this was as good a criteria as any to decide how to divide it up.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Now 7. Vani bevoi mi padan mesa alai Rachel be'eretz Canaan baderech be'od kivras eretz lavo Ephrasa va'ek bereha sham baderech biderech Ephras he base lechem. So let's see. But as for me, when I came to Padan Aram, from Padan, Rachel died on me in the land of Canaan on the road while there was still about a beres of land to go to Ephrat. And I buried her there on the road to Ephrat, which is Beit Lechem.
Right.
So Rashi says, Vani bevoi mi padan v'gomer v'af al pi she'ani mat riach alecha, and even though I have troubled you, or I trouble you, leho licheni lehikaver be'eretz Canaan, to take me to be buried in the land of Canaan, lo chach asisa leimcha,
Lekach Asisi.
lo kach asisi, and I did not do thus for your mother,
Right.
Sheharei Mesa Samuch Leves Lechem. For see now, she died near Beit Lechem. So what? Why doesn't Yosef say, so what? You're in Egypt. You died in Egypt. So let you stay in Egypt, just like you let my mother stay in Beit Lechem.
Right, that's exactly. And
So,
we're going to see, Rashi is going to mention in the Hemshech. This is just an interesting thing. This is really, really one long Rashi all the way to the end of the pasuk.
Kivras Eretz, about a beres of the land.
Who's translating like
that? The Art Scroll. It says the translation of Kivras as about a beres is based on Rambam's understanding of Rashi in his commentary to 35:16 above.
One second. It's when actually she died. 35:16?
Yeah. It'd be Lamed Hay.
Yeah. Vayi'o kivras haaretz labo efrasa. Yeah. Kivras haaretz. Rashi actually learns okay, I guess he learns that, didn't I? I wanted to say Kivras is the name of the midah, is the name of the measure. But anyway, okay. How did I translate it? Let me check over here. One second.
Yeah, that's what he says. Midas Eretz, a measure of land. Vehem alpayim ama, which is an amos.
I just translate as a certain distance from reaching Ephras.
Right. Kemidas Shabbos, like the measure of the Tehum of Shabbos. Kedivrei Rabbi Moshe Hadarshan, according to the words of Rabbi Moshe Hadarshan. Velo Tomar, and do not say she ikvu alai gishamim. Do not say the rains prevented me. Mil holicha ule kavra bechevron, from taking her and burying her in Chevron. Ace Hagarid Haya. It was the dry season. Shehaaretz Chalula, ume nu keves kiv vara, and the land has hollows and holes like a sieve.
Right.
So it's not going to be flooding. Ve'ek bereha sham, and I buried her there. Velo ho lachtiha afilu leves lechem, and I did not even take her to Beis Lechem. Lahach nisa laaretz, to bring her into the land. Yadati sheyesh belibcha alai, and I know that there are hard feelings in your heart against me. Aval da lecha, but you should know. Sha'al pi ha-dibur, by the word of Hashem, kivartiha sham, I buried her there. Shetehei le'ezra levaneha, so that she should be of aid to her children. Kisheyagle osam nevu zar adan, when Nebuzar Adan would exile them. V'hayu ovrim derech sham, and they would pass through the way there, i.e., they would pass by where her burial place was. Yotzeis Rachel, and Rachel would go out, al avra, onto her grave, uvocha, and weep, umevakeshes alehem rachamim, and seek mercy for them. Shne'emar, as it says, kol birama nishma v'gomer, a voice is heard in the heights, etc. V'hakadosh Baruch Hu mishiva, and Hashem answers her. Yesh sachar lif ula seich neum Hashem. There is reward for your act, says Hashem. Vishavu vanim ligvulam, and children shall return to their borders. V'unkelis targame kavur ar'ah, and Unkelis translates kivras eretz as plowing of the land. Kedei shiur charishas yom, the equivalent of the amount of a day's plowing. Va'omer ani, and I say, shehaya lahem ketzev, that they had a certain amount, shehayu korin oso, which they would call it kedei macharesha acha, the equivalent of one plowing.
Right.
Sharud in Old French. Kede amrinan, as we say, i.e., as the Talmud says, karev saneh, he plows and does it again.
Repeats it.
Kama de masik ta'ala mi bay charba. As much soil as a fox brings up passing through a plowed field. That's not very much. I don't get the whole thing about the plowing.
No, he wants to say that is that like they had a set measurement how much a person would plow in a given time or in a 1 day's plowing. There was a certain distance.
Right. So what?
No, so that's why it's called this. Use this terminology because according to the Targum, kivras means kroiv aro, means the amount you would plow of the land. Actually, I translated it. Translate kivras by kroiv aro, the amount of land which is plowed in 1 day. I'm of the opinion that they had a definitive which was called the amount of one furrow. Kroivaton, he plows and plows again.
So now,
And the fox carries away with its feet from a plowed field. Bake arbor. So there was a certain standard plowing measurement.
and that is telling us how far it was that Rachel's tomb is from Beit Lechem?
Yeah, correct.
So it's pretty close.
Okay. Hello?
So it's pretty close.
Yeah. And Maisa, you see it. I mean, if you go to Cave Rachel today, it's pretty much on the place where the had been to where her grave was.
So the bottom line is that Yaakov is telling Yosef, don't be mad at me because I didn't bury Rachel in Machpelah because Hashem told me that I should bury her where I buried her.
Right, correct.
Because of this thing that she needs to be available for the exiles.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. I think we'll stop here. Oops. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Have a good day, Rabbi. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Be well. Kol tov.